So, don't trust blood type diets or, the ones 23andMe tell you to use. Your metabolism is way stronger than your genetics. Where do you fall on this spectrum? Let's start with the most common metabolism, insulin resistant. Light. These folks have a tough time admitting that they're not as healthy as they think they are. They're getting a little older, they've put a little weight around the middle, and their routine is the same as it was the last few years, but they've got problems brewing under the hood. Here are some clinical clues. Yeah, ones you can test that see where are you in this progression. So, you've got morning fasting blood sugar, then we have hemoglobin A1C, which is the average blood sugar over 3 months, LPIR, we'll get to that later, and then there's the CGM, or continuous glucose monitor. Do you see a common theme? Yeah, blood sugar early in the morning predicts how your body is doing. In fact, blood sugar at any time of day gives us a clue on how you respond to the foods you're eating. Here's the biggest pain point. If you see your blood sugar rising 20 to 30 points after just a few carbs, it is a warning sign. Something is brewing inside your body, and it is affecting your metabolism. So how do you eat? This population of people needs to accept that the rules have changed. And honestly, the number one rule is that total carbohydrates in a day need to be 20 grams or less. I don't like giving more food plan advice beyond that, but here are a few go-to items that are easy to stay within this menu. Sardines, eggs, pork belly, oxtail, brisket, and good quality sausage are great examples of ketogenic macros that are high in fat and full of nutrients. Those are pretty much zero-carb foods. So, can you get away with a few more extra carbs? Add some cucumbers or blueberries or avocados or olives. Don't ask me? Check. Use these tools, a glucometer or a continuous glucose monitor, to see how your body is reacting. You might be very surprised at what you see. Well, it's always good to check. It didn't start out like this. The first stage was the healthy stage, but honestly, I doubt any of you watching here are at this stage. Let's use my healthy 18-year-old athletic son as an example. He is lean, with high muscle mass from years of advanced wrestling. In fact, they use people like him when they're doing medical studies to look at nutritional advice, which is what makes it so confusing. So let's compare his labs to that insulin resistance light. So his fasting glucose can be even in the 70s up to 90s. His hemoglobin A1C is from 4.5 to 5.2. Yes, that is what healthy people's number is. And that slight rise when you're insulin-resistant light is a real tell. The LPIR, again, is something we're going to get to. But his continuous glucose monitor barely wiggles when he eats. By now you can see that your morning fasting glucose is the metric that I'm going to look at to see how healthy is your machine, your metabolism. And then, how do the foods you eat affect this number? Folks are always surprised to learn that the healthy numbers in the morning are 80 or lower. So, how should my son eat well? This is the only time you're going to hear me say net carbs, but, we're still talking about whole foods. That low-carb eating does stress your metabolism. It stresses your system, but so does exercise. As a wrestler, my son could eat as much salad and blue cheese as he wants and not get a blood sugar spike. I want him fluctuating in and out of ketosis with his food and exercise, but he doesn't need to live there, because he has advanced stresses into high ketosis with those 3 to 4 hour long wrestling practices. People like this could easily get away with paleo or a Mediterranean diet, but honestly, I would go for the steak, eggs, and sardines, and then not even bother counting the vegetables if you'd eat them anyway. Many people think that they're in this category, but they're actually more insulin resistant than they think. Take a look at this chart. You'll see that the difference between the healthy people and insulin-resistant light has very little change in their blood sugars, but their insulin required to keep it under control has risen significantly. This is where that LPIR score separates the two categories. Your body is trying to compensate, but it will eventually lose the battle if you keep going. Often there were subtle signs in groups 2 and 3, the severely insulin-resistant patients, that there were problems with their blood sugars long ago in their adolescent or youth. They were not advanced athletes sweating 3 to 4 hours in a wrestling room. They had severe acne, they were pudgy teenagers. And if you look carefully, those sex hormones that are critical in those years of development, they did not reach their peak levels. Their doctor is now medicating their high blood sugar instead of treating their high insulin. I have upset many patients telling them that their protein shakes, blueberries, and avocado for breakfast are adding to the problem, not reversing it. Severe insulin resistance means those foods do not work well for your system. But do not take my word for it, measure it, test it yourself. By this stage, their morning fasting glucoses are in the triple digits, and they've got hemoglobin A1Cs that qualify them for pre-diabetes and diabetes. That LPIR score now is strikingly abnormal. It predicts heart disease better than anything out there that I could measure. LPIR is this measurement of how efficiently your body delivers fat to the cells in your body. And yes, your body needs fat delivered every minute of every day. As that LPIR score rises, your efficiency decreases, and this is what causes heart disease. The LPIR score? Well, you need a medical team to order. The other metrics, you can measure from home. Why is this happening? Well, the beta cells that live inside your pancreas produce insulin, and they release insulin into your circulation every time you eat. As you become more and more insulin resistant, these cells fatigue at each stage of insulin resistance. Give them a break and they will heal. But that break is years of decreased production of insulin. Follow the rules with high fat, low carb, and whole food. Tracking that fasting glucose gives you such insight to what your body's metabolism is doing, and what foods you're using to improve the situation, and which ones make it worse. Another clue is to track that post-meal spike in glucose. 20 to 30 points is a healthy rise and fall, but when it starts to rise north of that repeatedly, you are pushing the insulin machinery too hard. You do have control of these numbers, but it takes time. Beta cell fatigue demands years of insulin quiet to reverse. Carnivore or a menu close to it is the easiest to follow, but if you do carnivore, be sure you do it right. Click this next video to see the 3 pitfalls commonly done by carnivores.